Have you ever felt like your own brain is your worst enemy when it comes to investing? It's a weird feeling, but it's incredibly common. See, there are these invisible psychological traps that can mess with even the smartest investors, turning what should feel like a huge success into a source of serious anxiety. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly what these traps are.
All right, to really get how this works, let's just walk through a little scenario. Picture this. You made a really great investment a few years ago.
You started out with $100,000. And man, you nailed it. The market was good to you, and that investment soared all the way up to a peak of $750,000. I mean, that's just incredible. But, markets do what they do. Things have cooled off a little, and your portfolio is now sitting at $600,000.
Okay, let's pause here. Let's be perfectly clear. You are up $500,000 from where you started. Objectively, by any measure, that is a massive, life-changing win. So why does it sting so much? More importantly, why does this amazing success somehow feel like a loss?
Well, the answer isn't in your brokerage account. It's actually inside your own head. There are two really powerful cognitive biases working against you, teaming up to twist how you see reality. So let's meet the two culprits behind this whole puzzle. First up is something called recency bias. This is our brain's natural habit of giving way too much importance to whatever just happened. The most recent stuff feels so vivid, so urgent, that it completely overshadows the much longer and usually more important history. Oh, a perfect example of this was the whole meme stock frenzy. You had investors who saw a few weeks of absolutely explosive gains and just piled in, completely ignoring the fact that these companies had years and years of shaky financials. That recent hype, thanks to recency bias, felt way more real than the long-term reality. And the second culprit is anchoring. This is our brain's tendency to just latch on to the very first piece of information we get. We call that the anchor. And then let that one number influence every single decision we make after that, even if that anchor is totally irrelevant now. You've probably felt this one. Think about being anchored to the price you paid for a stock. Say you bought it at $100. If it drops to $70, you might refuse to sell. Not because the company is still a good investment, but because you're just waiting for it to get back to what you paid. That initial price, your anchor, is clouding your judgment about what the stock is actually worth today. So to boil it down, it's pretty simple. Recency bias messes with your perception of time. The now is screaming in your ear, and you can't hear the past. Anchoring, on the other hand, messes with your perception of value. An old number feels more real to you than the cold, hard facts of today. Now, either one of these biases can trip you up on its own, but when they get together, that's when they create this perfect storm of irrational thinking. So let's connect this back to our original example and see exactly how they turned a $500,000 profit into something that feels like a failure.
And here's the absolute key. Your brain isn't anchored to your original $100,000 investment. Nope, because of recency bias, it's latched onto a newer, more exciting, more recent number, that peak of $750,000. That has become your new psychological anchor.
This is the battle happening right inside your head. You've got the reality, which is that big green bar on the left, a massive $500,000 gain. But because you're now anchored to that recent peak, all your brain can feel, all it can focus on is that red bar, the $150,000 drop from that high point. The recent pain is totally eclipsing the long-term success.
It's a really potent combination. It can take what is, by all accounts, a smashing success story and turn it into something that feels, emotionally, like a total failure.
And this feeling isn't just uncomfortable, it is actively dangerous to your wealth. This is the mindset that leads investors to make awful decisions, like panic selling during a dip to cut their losses, when in reality, they're ditching a winning strategy that's already made them a fortune. So the big question is, how do you fight back against your own brain? Well, the key is to build systems and habits that rely on discipline and data, not on these fleeting, powerful emotions. Let's look at a few ways you can build a stronger, more rational approach. To fight recency bias, you have to force yourself to get a wider perspective. Literally, zoom out. Look at 5 or 10-year performance charts, not just the last 3 months. Diversify your portfolio so one rough patch in one area doesn't feel like the end of the world. And I love this one. Keep an investment journal. Write down why you bought something in the first place so you can go back and remember your long-term plan when all the short-term noise gets loud. And to break free from anchoring, you need rules. And you need to set them before you invest, when you're calm and rational.
Decide on your sell price or a stop loss based on the company's actual business, not your purchase price. And actively look for people who disagree with you. A good financial advisor, or even just playing devil's advocate, can challenge your view. Above all, reevaluate your investment based on the reality of the business today, not the price it was yesterday.
You know, maybe the most powerful tool of all is to adopt a system that pretty much removes your emotions from the driver's seat entirely. Strategies like dollar-cost averaging, where you invest a fixed amount on a regular schedule no matter what, do this for you. Your decisions become automatic, not emotional, which just naturally weakens the grip of both recency and anchoring.
So when you put this all together, what's the one big takeaway? It really comes down to recognizing where the real fight for investment success is actually won or lost.
The biggest risk to your portfolio isn't a market crash. It isn't about economy. It's the collection of biases, emotions, and mental shortcuts that are happening right between your own ears. Winning at investing isn't just about managing money. It's about managing your own psychology.
Look, knowing these biases exist is the critical first step, but taking action is what counts. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's the one rule you'll set for yourself, starting today, to protect your portfolio from your own worst instincts?
And finally, our necessary reminder. This explainer is all for educational purposes, to help you recognize these common psychological traps. It is not investment advice. All investing involves risk, so please always consult a qualified financial professional to get guidance that's tailored specifically to you.